to determine the order of the Chebyshev characteristics for the following filter specifications with passband ripple of 1 dB in the band magnitude of ohm less than or equal to 1 radians per second, and at ohm which is greater than 4 radians per second, amplitude is down by 40 dB. So this means the passband ripple is, that is AP is 1 dB, ohm P is 1, ohm S is 4, and AS is 40 dB. So AP it is down attenuation, so minus 1 dB, and AS minus 40 dB we take. So from that we compute epsilon, which is 0.508, and lambda from AS, which is minus 40. So you get lambda is equal to 10 square minus 1. So it is 99.99. Now to find
Madam, first one
n,
0.508. Absolutely not 0.508 ಬರಲ್ಲ.
0.508,
ನೀವು ಮೈನಸ್ ಬರ್ದಿರಿ.
ಇಲ್ಲ ಮೈನಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲಿದೆ, ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಟು ಬರ್ದಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಇದು. ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಟು ಸೈನ್ ಹಾಕಿದ್ದೇನೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. So n cos hyperbolic inverse lambda by epsilon cos hyperbolic inverse ohm s by ohm p. So lambda by epsilon, let us find the ratio. So 99.99 divided by 0.508. So you'll get 196.84. Ohm s by ohm p is 4. So n is equal to cos hyperbolic inverse 196.84 divided by cos hyperbolic inverse 4. So use your calculator and compute the value of n and tell me this value.
2.895.
How much?
2.895.
2.895. So we have to select n equal to 3. Okay. So if you select n equal to 3, then for this, I have not continued with the solution of it. So I think rest you can do it, finding the pole location, and this is ohm P is given 1 radians, so prototype is not required. Only pole locations, 3 pole locations you have to find out. How do you find? It is sigma k plus j ohm k, where sigma k is a into minus a sine of 2k plus 1. See here in the previous class we have obtained that. See, minus a sine 2k plus 1 pi by 2n, and ohm k is b 2k plus 1 pi by 2n, where a and b you have to calculate. So compute 1 by epsilon. So your epsilon is 5088. So this same is there. So the same pole location. The order is different here. Order is the, so your A and B will be different. So epsilon is same, whereas A will be sine hyperbolic 1 by 3 sine hyperbolic inverse 1.9654. Compute A. Compute B cos hyperbolic 1 by 3 sine hyperbolic inverse 1.9654. So how much you get A and B with N3? So compute that and continue with sigma 0, sigma 1 and sigma 2. Sigma 1 will be a real pole location, which is equal to A's value, and sigma 0 and sigma 1 they are conjugate pairs. This I was supposed to tell you how to obtain a high pass filter with Ohm C is equal to 2 radians per second if H of S is given like this. So replace S by Ohm C by S in this. So H2 of S then will be equal to, we have to replace in this S by 2 by S because Ohm C is 2 radians per second. So H2 of S then will be equal to 1.102510 divided by 2 by S square plus 1.09773 2 by S plus 1.1025. Now to solve this numerator and the denominator both, we have to multiply with S square. If I multiply this with S square, I will get H2 of S is equal to 1.1025 S square. Here to this, if you multiply by S square, the first term will remain with 4. This term 1.09773 into 2S. So you will get this as 2.1954S plus to this we multiply by S square. So 1.102 into S square. So numerator and denominator, let us divide it with 1.1025 to further simplify this. So we'll get S square divided by S square plus 1.99132S plus 3.628. This was about the analog filter design of Chebyshev filter. Now let us move ahead with ಹೇಳಿ. So we have to move ahead with designing the digital filter, how to transform this H of S for analog filter to the discrete time system or a digital system. In case of impulse invariance, we need to map a continuous time impulse response to discrete time impulse response. Now H of S which you have obtained, it is for the continuous time. Now to convert it to discrete time, you need to obtain Hz. So mapping a continuous time frequency response to discrete time frequency response. So you have suppose H of n you need to obtain from analog HA of t, where t you have to replace with nts so that you get HA of nts. Generally, instead of writing nts, a discrete time system we designate it by only the integer values. So ts we leave and index we observe it for the integer values and write it as hn. So hn will be equal to HA of nts. So if you have obtained h of s, from that h of s, take the inverse Laplace transform and obtain HA of t. Then every t you replace it with t is equal to nts so that you get HA of nts and that is your h of n. So if we start from discrete time specification, start with discrete time specifications in terms of omega, go to continuous time ohm which is equal to omega by ts. So ohm ts, omega the digital frequency is equal to ohm ts, that is sampling the analog frequency by the sampling frequency fs. You convert the analog frequency to the digital frequency. So ohm ts is equal to omega or ohm is equal to omega by ts. And so if suppose it is asked to design a digital filter, at that time what you have to do is, we are asked to design the discrete time specification. So we are starting with the discrete time specification which is given in terms of omega. So first we have to obtain from the omega the analog frequency ohm which is equal to omega by ts. and first design the continuous time filter. So whenever a problem of digital filter design is asked to you, at that time what you have to do is the digital frequencies will be given to you. From that digital frequencies, obtain the analog frequency by considering ohm is equal to omega by Ts and design the continuous time filter first. That is, for normalized filter you first design, then convert to the prototype filter, and then use the impulse invariance technique to map it back to the discrete time frequency. Where omega is equal to ohm Ts. So now we shall concentrate on how to use impulse invariance technique to map it to the discrete time frequency omega, which is equal to ohm Ts. If the continuous time filter is a band limited to magnitude of ohm which is greater than or equal to pi by Ts, Ts the sampling period. Then h of e raised to j omega is equal to ha of j omega by Ts. So when you replace ohm by omega by Ts, then omega will be, magnitude of omega will be greater than or equal to pi. So if digital frequencies specification is limited and it is between minus pi to plus pi, then ohm will be restricted from minus pi by Ts to plus pi by Ts. Ts the sampling period. Consider you have a analog system transfer function HA of S. So now in this onwards I will inform you or I will tell you how to transform the H of S, which is a filter transfer function in the S domain, and how to transform it to the Z domain, or to convert this analog specification to digital specifications. So we design, as we have studied in the previous session, the analog filter first and obtain the H of S, which is your HA of S. So you have the analog system transfer function HA of S. From this HA of S, you write this transfer function in the form summation of k varying from 1 to n ak by s minus sk. So use partial fraction expansion method, and each pole location you express it in this form. Obtain these AKs using the partial fraction expansion. Once you obtain and factorize this HA of S and write it in terms of A0 S minus S0 plus A2 A1 S minus S1 plus A2 S minus S2, so on, up to if you have n number of poles, so you will get n number of pole locations like this. So for every pole, then you convert it using the inverse Laplace transform to get the time domain impulse response HA of t. So every term A k S minus Sk, when you inverse Laplace transform that, the inverse Laplace transform of that will be equal to Ak e raised to Sk of t, where t is greater than or equal to 0 and is equal to 0 for t less than 0. Once you obtain this HA of t by the inverse Laplace transform, then in this expression you replace t by nts. So replace t with nts, so that you will get Hn, which is nothing but HA of nts, which is equal to summation k from 1 to n ak e raised to sk nts. This is for n which is greater than or equal to 0. So this is multiplied by un. So for every pole location like that, a digital term you will get, you can write a closed form of expression for every this pole location and obtain h of z. So h of z will be in the form of summation k from 1 to n ak 1 minus e raised to sk t s z inverse. So if you take a z transform of this Hn, for every term, these terms, z transform will be ak 1 minus e raised to sk ts z inverse. So pole location you have S is equal to Sk in S domain, transform this pole at e raised to Sk ts. So Z is equal to e raised to Sk ts. Z generally we represent in terms of the polar form as r e raised to j omega. So if you compare the real and imaginary parts of these both sides, what you observe is the real part r, the magnitude, is equal to e raised to sigma ts, and omega is equal to ohm ts. So we are concentrating on how this pole at S is equal to Sk is transformed to Z in Z domain. So Z will be equal to e raised to SKTS. You will observe here that Z is equal to e raised to SKTS. So if Z is equal to e raised to SKTS, Z in its polar form can be represented as r e raised to j omega. So if I compare this magnitude and this phase of both sides, magnitude r is equal to e raised to sigma ts and omega is equal to ohm ts. So sigma, which is a real part of S, so if sigma is less than 0, there observe here, sigma, if it is less than 0, r is equal to e raised to sigma ts. If sigma is less than 0, all the points e raised to some fractional point will have. So if sigma, if it is less than 0, magnitude of z will be less than 1. That is, all the points will map inside the unit circle. This is when if sigma is less than 0. So for stable and causal system, we require the pole locations which are lying to the left half, that is where sigma is negative. For sigma is equal to 0, if you take sigma is equal to 0, z will become equal to 1 and all the points will lie on the circle. If sigma is greater than 0, then magnitude of z will be greater than 1 and it will map outside the unit circle. So the problem of this transformation from S domain to Z domain is many S domain poles can be transformed to one pole location in Z domain. That is, the mapping takes place from many pole locations to one location. So every semi-infinite left strip, that is the whole left half of S plane, maps inside the unit circle. So for causality and stability criteria, they are remain same without changing any other criteria. That is, all the, for sigma less than 0, for stability, the pole locations lies inside the unit circle. So since the pole locations are, sigma is negative, and we are considering that the impulse response is a right-handed sequence, the system will be causal as well as stable. So if aliasing will occur if filter is not band limited. So just observe this. There are two semi-infinite terms. This is one infinite, semi-infinite term. Why I am saying it as a semi-infinite? I am considering only the left half of S plane. It is from minus pi by t to plus pi by t. And if you take the points from minus 3 pi by t to plus 3 pi by t, all these points, they are lying inside the unit circle. So when you transform these different strips into the Z domain, possibility is there that many pole locations in the S domain, they can be mapped at one location in the Z domain. Therefore, we say here that many to one transformation in Z domain. It is a stable design and the frequency ohm and omega, they are linearly related. But what is the disadvantage of this? We should expect some aliasing of the analog frequency response, and in some cases this aliasing is intolerable. Consequently, this design method is useful only when the analog filter is essentially band limited to a low pass or band pass filter. The filters such as the high pass filters and band stop filters whose band is not limited, so for that the possibility of aliasing will be there and the aliasing will be intolerable. So you will get the number of oscillations in the stop band for high pass filter and band stop filter, whereas for low pass and band pass filter you will not get the oscillations in the stop band. So this impulse invariant technique will be suitable for low pass and band pass filter. So you'll better understand this functioning of how to transform h of s to h of z by considering the example using this impulse invariant method. Now consider that you have h of s that you have designed and already obtained h of s, and your h of s is equal to s plus 2 divided by s plus 3 s plus 1. There are two pole locations, one at s equal to minus 3 and other at s equal to minus 1. So obtained this h of s, now to convert it or to find h of z from this h of s, what you have to do is use inverse Laplace transform and obtain h of t from h of s. Now to use the inverse Laplace transform, we have to use partial fraction expansion to separate the pole locations. So let me write this h of s is equal to a by s plus 3 plus b by s plus 1. Now we have to find this a and b using partial fraction method. So to find a, to this h of s, we multiply by s plus 3 and then substitute s is equal to minus 3. So a you will get is equal to s plus 3 and s plus 3 you will get cancelled. You will remain with s plus 2 by s plus 1. Then you substitute s equal to minus 3 here and minus 3 here. So you will get numerator minus 1, denominator minus 2. So a will be equal to 1 by 2. And similarly to obtain b, multiply to this h of s by s plus 1 and then substitute s is equal to 1. So you will again get 1 by 2. So a is 1 by 2 and b is 1 by 2. So h of s I am getting is equal to 1 by 2 by s plus 3 plus 1 by 2 by s plus 1. Now use the inverse Laplace transform pair 1 by s plus a, which is e raised to minus at. So taking the inverse Laplace transform of this, I obtain h of t which is equal to 1 by 2 is the constant and inverse transform of 1 by s plus 3 is e raised to minus 3t ut. And for 1 plus 1 upon 1 s plus 1, it is e raised to minus t u of t. So this 1 by 2 is common, e raised to minus 3t plus e raised to minus t into u of t. So I have not written here u of t, but this is a right-handed sequence and it exists for only right side of time domain. So next, to convert and to obtain h of n from this, we have to sample h of t by replacing t with nts, where ts is the sampling frequency. So in this expression of h of t, I'll replace t with nts so that I'll get hn, which is equal to hnts is equal to 1 by t e raised to minus 3 nts plus 1 by 2 e raised to minus nts. So if ts is provided to you, substitute the ts here and obtain h of n. Now to obtain h of z, we have to obtain the z transform of this equation. So hz is equal to 1 by 2 the constant. Now the z transform of e raised to minus 3 nts is, the closed form of expression of this is 1 upon 1 minus e raised to minus 3 ts z inverse. It is in the form of a raised to minus n, a raised to n un. So a raised to n un, you can write it as 1 by 1 minus az inverse. In this case, a is e raised to minus 3 ts. So here this is e raised to minus 3 ts z inverse. Similarly here, this is for this, it is e raised to minus ts. A is e raised to minus ts. So the closed form of expression is 1 by 2 upon 1 minus e raised to minus ts z inverse. So this is hz. You can simplify this if you have a time, otherwise you can leave it with this h of z. So I hope you are getting this. If you have designed an analog filter and obtained h of s,
Yes, ma'am.
to obtain h of z from h of s, we have to use inverse Laplace transform, obtain h of t and replace it with t with nts, and then take the z transform of it so that you will get hz. So before proceeding ahead of using this method to obtain h of z, you should know the important Laplace transform pairs. So in h of s, most of the time we get the conjugate pole locations and the denominator will be in the form of s square plus 2as plus a square plus b square form. So that you can write it in the form of s plus a whole square plus b square. So the Laplace transform for such pairs may be expressed as, if you have denominator, you have to adjust like this. Whatever the quadratic pole locations you have, for that quadratic pole locations, you adjust the denominator in the form of s plus a whole square plus b square. Generally by combining the quadratic, the two conjugate pole location, you get s square plus 2as plus the constant term as a square plus b square. So you can combine this s square plus 2as plus a square and write it as s plus a whole square and b square separately and write this as plus b square. So if you adjust the numerator with s plus a, then the inverse Laplace transform of s plus a by s plus a square plus b square is e raised to minus at cos bt u of t, and that of b divided by s plus a square plus b square's Laplace transform, inverse Laplace transform is e raised to minus at sin bt. Now if you have such a h of t which is obtained, then for that you have to obtain the z transform. So z transform you can directly write, it will be in the form of r raised to n cos bn u of n. So t, if it is given, you can consider the write that value, otherwise keep that as it is. So r, in place of r you have here e raised to minus at and b is bt. So the direct z transform of this is z square minus rz. So r is e raised to minus at into cos b. So cos bt here. So z square minus 2z e raised to minus at cos bt plus e raised to minus 2at. So you have to remember this well-known transform pairs, and you can directly use these transform pairs to transform from hs to ht and then hn from it, and from hn to Hz. So if your Hn is in the form, yes, you have doubt?
No.
Huh? Pardon me? You have any query?
No, ma'am.
So e raised to minus a n t sine b n t u of n t, if you have as h of n, that directly z transforms to give us z e raised to minus a t sine b t upon z square minus 2z e raised to minus a t cos b t e raised to minus 2at. Now we shall solve one more example on this. So we have to determine h of z using the impulse invariant method for the analog system function hs, which is in this form where hs is equal to 1 upon s plus 0.5 into s square plus 0.5 s plus 2. So now we have to use the partial fraction expansion to separate this. So I shall write this h of s, which is equal to a by s plus 0.5 plus bs plus c by s square plus 0.5 s plus 2. Now this quadratic equations, you have to find the partial fraction coefficients like this only. So I hope you have done it in mathematics and you will be able to find a, b and c values. Yes or not? You know to partial fractionize this and obtain these coefficients a, b, c. So to this h of s you multiply by s plus 0.5 and substitute s equal to minus 0.5 and obtain a, and then cross multiply both the sides and equate the constant term, both sides constant coefficient terms. If you equate, you can find the b and c values. So you will observe that you will get c is equal to 0 and b is equal to minus 0.5. Now if hs is equal to 0.5 divided by s plus 0.5 minus, now c is 0, b only we have, that is minus 0.5, so this minus sign I am writing here, and this is 0.5 s by s square plus 0.5 s plus 2. Now let me adjust this for the quadratic equation. This I can directly inverse Laplace transform. Now for this I will adjust this as s divided by s plus 0.25 square plus 1.3919 whole square. Now how do you obtain this value? From this coefficient of s you obtain a, that is this is 2 into a. So a is 0.25. So write this first bracket as s plus 0.25 square. Now you have here 2. From this 2 you subtract 0.25 square. So whatever you remain with, take the square root of that, and that is your b. So take the b square. Just operate and check out whether you get the same or not. Take 0.25 square and that you subtracted it from 2 and take the square root of the answer. Will you get, are you getting 1.3919? Just check out. Are you getting this 1.3919? How to obtain this? See here, this is a quadratic equation in S. So the middle term, which is a coefficient of s, it consists of 2as. So a is 0.25. So these two consist of a square plus b square. So a square we have to subtract from this 2. So a square is 0.25 square. So 0.25 square we have to subtract from 2. And whatever the answer you get, take the square root of that. That is your b. So write the b square. Getting this or not? Yes? Now moving ahead with this HS is equal to 0.5 by S plus 0.5 minus 0.5 into S plus 0.25 minus 0.25, because we have to adjust S plus A divided by this term. So let me write this as S plus 0.25 upon S plus 0.25 square plus 1.3919, so that this term will be in terms of cosine. Now for sinusoidal term, what you require here is you have to adjust this term, multiply inside first with this minus 0.5 to this, so that you will get 0.25 into 0.5, that is 0.125, and that you need b in the numerator to get a sinusoidal form. So to this 0.125 I divide with 1.3919 and it will remain with 0.0898. So this 0.125 is a product of 0.0898 and 1.3919. Now this term you can directly obtain the sinusoidal inverse Laplace transform. Inverse Laplace transform, if you take of this term, you will get the time domain sequence in the sinusoidal form, and for this term you will get it in cosine form, and this is a exponential form. Now if I take only inverse Laplace transform of this h of s, now I'll have let me first tell you h of t. H of t is 0.5 into e raised to minus 0.5 t. This is minus 0.5 is constant, e raised to minus 0.25 t cos of 1.3919, and for this 0.898 is constant into e raised to minus 0.25 t into sine of 1.3919 t. That is your h of t, and from that you can write directly h of z for each of the pair. So hz will be equal to 0.5 divided by 1 minus e raised to minus 0.5 t z inverse minus 0.5. For cosine term we write it as 1 minus e raised to minus 0.25 t cos of 1.3919 t z inverse by 1 minus 2 e raised to minus 0.25 t cos of 1.3919 t z inverse plus z raised to minus 2, and for the sinusoidal term we write this as 0.0898 is constant, and for the sinusoidal term we write this as e raised to minus 0.25 t sine of 1.3919 t z inverse divided by 1 minus 2 e raised to minus 0.25 t cos of 1.3919 z inverse plus z raised to minus 2. I can take t is equal to 1 seconds, assume it t equal to 1 second, and substitute and try finding the values of each of these bracket. So you'll get this hz like this. You can further simplify and write h of z like this. So you should not leave in between. With patience you have to perform this computation. So analog filter design and transforming it to digital filter by using impulse invariant method that we have seen in today's session.